No rain forecast today, and hopefully no more decisions like that to be made. Stage 3 has other challenges though, namely 5 climbs on the road from Belgium through Luxembourg and into France, where the 5th of them is up to the finish line at the Citadel in Longwy.
Welcome back. Well, one of the defining images of yesterday's race was this photograph. An extraordinary image of that big crash with 30 kilometres to go. But someone has to be in the right place at the right time. And Matt Rendell discovered who that was.
Great picture, isn't it? And Chris Holt took it. Chris, how did you choose that precise spot?
Well, the day wasn't going particularly well, and me and my moto driver, Frank Kirsten, were driving the route ahead of the race, looking for potential spots, and eventually we ran out of road, and that roundabout was basically where we had to go back onto the motorway. Then the heavens opened, started to rain, and I thought, this is a downhill, a corner, a roundabout, slippery roads. It could all go horribly wrong, and it did. So I just sat there and the action unfolded in front of us.
And the photo has gone around the world.
Chris Froome retweeted it and put it on Instagram, and then the floodgates just opened, and it just went mental. I was getting requests from European newspapers, websites, and it was just all over social media.
And this is on the back of, 20, 30 years of experience at the Tour de France, Chris?
No, it's my first one. I think I got lucky, very lucky.
Another few of those, and you really will be able to retire.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Kalamjan finally knows it's not going to work. He'll have to go another day. This one has pulled up just short. A long stage, over 200 kilometres in length. All in vain in the end. Trek Segafredo working, you would imagine, for John Degenkolb today. And Greg van Avermaet was also visibly moving up towards the front. Last time we saw the sharp end of the peloton. Arnaud Demar visibly there, the French national champion too. That looks fun. Briefly, before it becomes rather painful, I should imagine. And the big finale, as expected, is brewing up nicely. And you can see how fast it is at the back of the peloton as well. All strung out, sprinting just to remain in contact. There's Trentin. He sits at 10 seconds in the general classification. Don't forget, for the stage win, there are 10 seconds of time bonuses available.
So in front of there's Dan Martin. Dan Martin's in front of Trentin. So you've got Dan Martin, behind him Trentin, in front of him Philippe Gilbert, and then the two guys, the two domestics, Quick Step, who are just, their job now is to position them into the bottom of that climb.
Mark Renshaw, day over for him. Again, which, if you didn't need reinforcing, it suggests emphatically that Mark Cavendish isn't involved in today's finale. Renshaw's just sitting up, and it doesn't matter if he loses time, that's of no significance whatsoever, so he's just going to roll into the finish line. And think about tomorrow, which is a much better chance for Mark Cavendish to get himself a stage win on the Tour de France. Right, well, BMC have moved to the front with their big guns, and they do have big guns, don't they? The likes of Michael Scher, they have Alessandro De Marchi, Amel Moinard, all to set things up for Greg van Avermaet in this exceptional season. There's a glimpse of Peter Sagan.
So look, he's only got one teammate left. So you see the way Greg van Avermaet now is coming over his teammates. He doesn't want to get swamped. So he's just accelerated. He's now run out of teammates. So now it's up to him. He's going to have to ride off everyone else. Sunweb still in a great position. They've got Simon Geschke there with the beard, who's just sitting there, sitting pretty. But it's a little bit surprising to see Greg van Avermaet isolated so quickly and so easily. But we're seeing there's no real dominant teams there apart from Sunweb, who are riding a very intelligent race. And there's Sunweb, obviously they're riding for Michael Matthews, the Australian, who is, next to Sagan, one of the world's greatest finishers on stages like this.
Right, Bora have control at the front of the race. They've got 3 kilometres to go. They start climbing with 1.6k to go. And the first section of the climb, the first 500, 600, 700 metres are by far the steepest. Within the final kilometre then, it just slackens off in terms of the gradient a little. So there is a chance to, if you're gapped on the steepest section, just about to get back on and then hold something in reserve if it comes to a big group sprint. Tense times here. 3k to go for the back of the peloton. A couple of Sky Domestiques dropping towards the back. Christian Knees having done an awful lot of work, and Luke Rowe, their job is done for the day. And Marcus Burkhardt is about to begin as he takes over, the German national champion, setting things up for Peter Sagan, who at the moment, from that camera position, is invisible. Van Avermaet, though, very, very close to the front of the race. And when Burkhardt peels off, that might be a problem for Van Avermaet. He'll find himself exposed.
Well, I mean, it also shows just how strong Van Avermaet is. He's just surfing the front of the peloton. He's not actually, when you get to the bottom of the plane, when it starts going, he's in the prime position. Look at the way it's going to string out around this corner. Now, everyone's going to have to move up. The effort, if you think about it, to move up 2 bike lengths, 1 bike length at this point for Tour de France stage and a finish like this is so incredibly hard. Greg Van Avermaet is in the driving seat now. He can just keep jumping on people. They have to get to him. He doesn't have to get to them. So he's in a watching brief even at this point in the race. He keeps flicking behind. He's going to keep checking if somebody's coming up, and the moment they do, he'll jump on them, because he knows that, look at him, he's just checking. Now he is in control of the race. He's like, you've got to come up, and he's waiting. There's no teams left. No one can drive. He's got a teammate there, so that's perfect. So his teammate's going to come up and keep running. He's got Richie Porte there, so that's brilliant. Richie Porte's not going to do anything. He's a GC rider, so it's not his responsibility to help Greg Van Avermaet. You've now got 2 races going on for BMC. You've got the GC race, and you've got the stage race.
1.5 kilometres to go. This is the steepest section. This is where it could be decided effectively. BMC with Richie Porte, Greg Van Avermaet, and I think Samuel Moinard or Alessandro De Marchi there at the front of affairs. Alberto Bettiol from Cannondale, he's there. Edouard Bosenhagen on the left-hand side of the road. On the right, is that Dan Martin?
That's Martin. Yes.
Arnaud Demar, the French national champion, is there. So too is Jakob Fuglsang. Bit of bumping and grinding there with Peter Sagan down in about 10th wheel.
Degenkolb there next to Demar. So you've got Demar in the French national champion's jersey. I think that's Christophe who's still hanging on in there, which is amazing. And if he's on a good day, he is a prime candidate for this as well. But Degenkolb is there. Look at Contador on the left. You can see his out the saddle dancing style. So the GC riders are there, making sure they're not getting caught out in splits. But you've also got this. There's Romain Bardet on the right for AG2R. Richie Porte sitting in the middle. No sign of Sky Riders actually, which is quite surprising. Normally we expect them to be very dominant to the front there. Marcel Kittel giving a little wave. As we said, the sprinters don't stand a chance on this sort of finish, apart from a couple of them. Now Greg Van Avermaet has slid back a bit. Now BMC are riding in a very GC style, and you can see that Contador is sitting good. Contador is looking very good. Now is that Trentin there, the quick step rider in the middle, who's just going to give it a little out the saddle. And you got
Michael Albertini is there, the Swiss rider from Orica Scott. He's very handily placed there. Yeah, Sunweb are trying to manoeuvre Michael Matthews into position. He's a little bit far down the line at the moment. Contador is still very visibly towards the front.
Kwiatkowski is now accelerating up with Geraint Thomas. So they're moving on. It's going to fight Dan Martin there on the other side of the road. Michael Matthews is conspicuous by his absence. I just saw a glimpse of him, which has been very cool. He still had 2 teammates, so he must be holding back. They know it's going to flatten off a bit. But look at this, as BMC are now completely in control. And there's Rafael Majka for Bora as well. No sign of the World Championship. Richie Porte attacking.
Yeah, Porte goes, he looks over his shoulder, he gets the reaction from Contador. It's a GC race. That's not what we'd expected at the moment. Rafa Majka is the rider who sits on their wheel from Bora Hansgrohe, the yellow jersey. Geraint Thomas being manoeuvred ever closer to the front by Michał Kwiatkowski, who looks to see where Thomas is. Don't rule out a second stage win for Geraint Thomas. Yeah. He certainly looks like he means business. He's sitting on a perfect wheel there as well from Greg Van Avermaet in about 7th place. But Sagan has nurdled his way towards the front. Watch out for him, he's in 4th place. Porte, big attack, and they're going to have to get to Richie Porte.
Richie Porte, that is incredible what he's doing. He's just riding them off his wheel. Here comes Sagan. He's not even started his sprint yet. Checking his gears. He's still got Majka in front of him. He's checking behind Majka. He's just come by him.
Oh, he's not
Greg Van Avermaet's looking. Geraint Thomas is looking fantastic as well. Here we go. Here is Peter Sagan. He's checking what's going on. It's
complete control from Peter Sagan. Everyone else has their mouth gaping open. Sagan is breathing through his nose at this point. 250 metres to go. He's toying with the field. If Peter Sagan doesn't win from here...
He unclipped his foot. He just unclipped his foot in the acceleration.
Only mistake could beat him, but he gets back on, and now he has to sprint up against Greg Van Avermaet. But even in those circumstances, the world champion is going to see off everybody. There's a big charge from Matthews on the outside. Peter Sagan moves to the middle of the road and he lunges for the line, and he just about gets there. Confidence, brilliance, cockiness and raw talent from Peter Sagan. How did he win that?
That was absolutely insane how strong he was. And then to unclip in a Tour de France stage like that and get your foot back in, and then it almost looked like he got angry. And then he really engaged pure Peter Sagan. But before that, he was just toying with everybody.
Well, Sagan wins, but in some circumstances, Dan Martin I think in third or fourth, Greg van Avermaet, beaten handsomely by his old rival Peter Sagan on the Tour de France. He takes that win in some style. Didn't have time for the trademark exuberant celebration. That's just ridiculous.
Can you imagine what he'd have done if he hadn't unclipped? I mean, it's to unclip at that point, under that stress, under that effort, and then put your foot back in and then reboot the sprint. I mean, I think he actually had to try. Watch this. It was just, there you go. That's unclips the right foot. Boom.
Stops pedalling.
So look at that. Still under, that's probably in 0.2 of a second. He's got his foot back in again. And then reboots again. Dan Martin does a great sprint. Greg van Avermaet normally just kills, but Michael Matthews, exactly the riders we were talking about. Michael Matthews does do a fantastic sprint, and it's only because of that unclip that he even gets a chance to be close to. He's not as close as we thought he was. Dan Martin did a great ride there. No harm whatsoever for his GC position.
Oh, well, look further back down the line. The yellow jersey of Geraint Thomas. He'll hang on to that yellow jersey for another day. You can see Jakob Fuglsang handily placed towards the front as well. Great ride from Martin to take third. Exceptional fast finishing from Michael Matthews. But centre stage, Peter Sagan once again.
As he has been since his Tour de France debut in 2012, his 8th stage win ahead of a fast-closing Michael Matthews, with Dan Martin showing good form to beat Greg van Avermaet to the line. Jakob Fuglsang, Geraint Thomas and Chris Froome finished together in a 25-strong group, 2 seconds behind the leading four. Quintana, Bardet, Porte, Aru, Contador and Chavez were all in there too. Simon Yates wasn't. He finished in a smaller group, another 8 seconds back. Well, he didn't have time for a finish line celebration today, Peter Sagan, but he did take to the podium with his sponsor's ski goggles round his neck, just because he can. Look out for a shower attachment or possibly a kitchen extractor fan if he wins any more stages. Matt was waiting for him when he came off.
You seemed to do everything wrong today. You were too far, too close to the front. You sort of looked over and smiled like Usain Bolt at Richie, and then the foot came out and still you won. How was it for you? What was going through your mind?
Because I'm lucky guy. That's why, yeah. No, I was lucky just because it was too much mistakes in the end. Thank you all my teammates and all the team Boransgrove, because they did an amazing job today. We were pulling in the front all day, and especially my brother Uri, he did very well. And in the end we had happy end with also a little bit bad luck in the end, but still, I managed that good. I keep calm, and I kept calm. And I'm very happy for this victory. It's good for all the team.
You had to keep calm. When your foot came out of the pedal, did you think, it's gone?
Oh, maybe it was in the purpose, you know, to make a mistake, you know, be worried for another guys.
And also, are you trying to stay in the World Champions jersey as long as possible before inevitably taking over the green?
Yeah, we don't talk about green jersey. I am happy with this one, and we will see day by day if it's possible something.
Listen, you're going to have to say what these goggles are.
It's motocross goggles, because 100% sunglasses start with goggles in motocross, and it's nice stylish.
While Sagan doesn't want to talk about the green jersey yet, an unaccessorised Marcel Kittel is happily wearing it. Nate Brown kept the polka dot jersey for Cannondale Drapac through his work in the day's break. And Pierre Latour's strong ride made him the new leader of the Best Young Rider competition. Now, the result of today's stage was to clear out everyone from the top of the standings between 2nd and 5th, which shunts up Chris Froome to 2nd behind Geraint Thomas, although he's still 12 seconds behind his teammate. Michael Matthews and Peter Sagan are up to 3rd and 4th, and the gaps from Froome back to his main rivals are the same, except for Dan Martin, who moved 4 seconds closer thanks to his time bonus for 3rd, and Simon Yates, who was on the wrong side of a split. Here it is. You'll see a gap appear between the white, black and red jersey of Diego Ulissi at the back of the Froome-Thomas group and the Cannondale green of Simon Clarke at the front of the group Yates was in. We make it about 2 seconds, so under the new rules he'd have been all right if today had only been a flat stage. No such worries for Geraint Thomas, riding high as a race leader should and taking his team leader with him as a good domestique should.
Another day defending the jersey, well done. How stressful were the final few kilometres today?
Yeah, it was hectic. It was, especially when those 3 guys sort of jumped across the break. The peloton had to really speed up, obviously, and it's a lot of lefts and rights, street furniture, some fast descents, and yeah, everyone just wanted to be at the front, so it was definitely hectic, but really happy to get through unscathed. The team rode really well together, and keeping myself and Froome up there, and yeah, all good.
Froome was close to you at the finish there. You were 8th, I think he was 9th. How much were you thinking about the jersey? How much were you thinking about Chris?
Yeah, it was a bit of both, really. You know, the fact that I had to keep him up there out of trouble meant I kept the jersey, and yeah, it's always good to finish ahead of him, put a bit of pressure on him, you know.
And listen, a beautiful photograph all around the internet of Chris, you, Bardet, the others skidding across the asphalt yesterday. Did you see the photograph? Did you like it? And how's your backside?
Yeah, I was okay, actually. I was going a bit slower, I think, by the time I hit the floor, but yeah, I think I looked the best. I think the other two were looked a bit more scared than me, but I guess I'm used to it.